I started to do marketing, did some really incredible things for, films like Jurassic Park and Apollo 13 and some Disney films. And that marketing effort earned me recognition. I won some international awards for marketing in the theater business. I had a slew of crazy opportunities that I don't know if I regret them or if I just look back and say, what if? But as an example, it turned out to be a job interview, although I wasn't told it was a job interview. And it turned out to be special effects artist for the Power Rangers. Again, at the time, I was like, well, what is this silly show, the Power Rangers? And I'm like, I don't get it. Like, I do get it, but I don't get it. Anyway, I left. And then, 5 years later, is like, I should have done that. I really should have done that. That would have been a huge opportunity. I think we all learn even when you have bad leadership. And there are countless examples of really awful managers that I've had over the years that I can still point to and say, I learned something from that experience. And I think anybody who can do that, the great mentors of our lives are one thing. The negative experiences are learning moments. We talk about failure and innovation and how we can learn from those failures. Bad leaders, bad managers, toxic cultures can teach you, one, where you don't want to be, and two, how you could potentially do it better. So learn from those experiences, and definitely I can, again, share a lot of experiences from that negative side. Every business is really the same business. Every business, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people out there who will disagree with me but especially in entertainment, whether it's movies or television, video games or music, they're all storytelling mechanisms. They're all entertainment vehicles. They're all things that we engage with to separate ourselves from life and, explore different worlds. So that's a fairly easy, conversation to have. Entertainment is entertainment, no matter what the vehicle of that entertainment is. So for me, I just looked at it as just another way of exploring another part of entertainment. But when I look at businesses, I would argue that healthcare is really no different than the movie industry. And the movie industry is really no different than retail. And retail is really no different than the video game industry. Businesses are businesses, and there's really, main factors that are involved with that. You have customers and you have a business, and you need to connect to those customers. And usually that is done through some level of storytelling, which we typically call marketing. And there's a sales process. That's it. That's business. And when people come and say, look, my business is different, we do things differently, we don't do it that way, which again, a lot of toxic cultures do. As I say, I get it. You're different. You don't have customers. Oh, no, we have customers. Oh, I got it. You're different. You don't care about the security of your customer data. We care about the security of our customer data. You don't have anything to sell. That's what's different, right? No, and when you ask these basic principle questions, you realize that really no company is different. You have a customer and you have a service and you're selling it. Well, I'll blow everybody's minds in terms of what we look at in terms of trends and what you think is going to be successful and not successful. Here's a mind blower. It's not AI. AI is a buzzword right now. It's overly hyped. It's the shiny new object. And we're already seeing a decline in the consumption of AI. Obviously, businesses are using AI. AI has been around for 30 plus some odd years. Trends like that, I look at AI similar to how I look at 3D movies. 3D movies was created, back in the 1900s. It had its ups and downs, 50s, it reemerged. 1990s, it re-emerged, like 2000s and 10s, it re-emerged. Like it's got these moments that it's going up and down. AI is acting in the same way. It's got these ebbs and flows of popularity. It's just become more accessible. But really, where we get into understanding what to focus on and how to innovate, it still ultimately goes back to consumers. It goes back to us. It goes back to what are we engaged with. And when you begin to understand what problems are out there, because that's all it really is we're trying to solve problems. Yeah. Then you have to recognize those problems and then be able to apply something to the problem. A lot of business ideas, like a lot of the AI ideas out there, are nothing but, hey, we're going to create a company on AI. Well, it's not really solving a problem. And so you've got to start with a customer and what their problem is, and then begin to analyze what you are going to do or build to solve that. And then worry about the technology that is going to help you enable it. The technology usually comes last. Companies have to get back to understanding who their customer is and what their customer wants. Mm-hmm. That's the basis of everything. Ever since the dawn of business, there's been a customer, and ever moving forward, there will always be a customer. You don't have a business if you don't have a customer. So that's the one constant that is not going to change. You're not going to one day decide to create a company that sells to robots. Robots are not your customers, right? Right. So if you understand that the customer is the constant in everything that you do, what we see now is that the customer has a stronger voice than ever before. Be that because of social media and word of mouth and being able to share opinions and experiences. I had a bad experience. I had a good experience. All of the videos that we're seeing online about incidences on airlines, like those things are all coming because customers are engaged with it. If you get somebody to click on a search and comes to your site, odds are that's your target demographic, right? Like they're actually were interested enough to click on something you have to say. Well, figure out who that person is. That's your target, and start to understand that. Start to look at it, and we can leverage this in both positive and negative. If somebody is clicking on your ad and coming to your site and engaging with you, there's your demographic. If people are not, that you are deliberately trying to target, right, in your demographic, then you're like, well, that's not the demographic. So both sides is data points that you have to look at, understand, and definitely you have to make decisions on.
If you enjoy this podcast, please make sure to subscribe. And to stay updated on everything that the Action Catalyst is up to, make sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Action Catalyst Podcast and on Twitter at Catalyst_Action. And thanks for listening.